We are now about to begin the final match for this junior division.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I'm Dylan Exabyte Mayo. With me, as always, is Josue Rosano. And we're going to be checking out these player profiles. The junior division, what was really interesting, the top 8, the cut, had 6 Japanese players, and 4 of them advanced to the top 4. Now we're down to the finals. It's been all Japan in the juniors division this year.
Yeah, much like the story for the master division, the U.S. is not going to be in the finals here, and we're going to have Japan against Japan. Haruto Kobayashi playing a good deck that's been around for quite a while now, is the Plasma deck, against Takashi Oguni playing Darkrai Garbodor, which we've seen quite a bit of this weekend.
Right. Let's go ahead and take a look at that player profile. There's Haruto on screen right now, showing off that Plasma deck he's playing. In the Japan National Cup, he ended up taking second prize there, and that is probably how he got qualified for Worlds.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I would assume that that's how he qualified for Worlds. These junior division players tend to not have very many accomplishments because, well, they're not very old.
Exactly. They'll do more as they age up, though. But yeah, Haruto definitely a strong competitor at his age group and playing that Plasma deck, which is really consistent. That's so important in a tournament like this.
Yeah, and it's not exactly easy to play either. So you have to believe that he's going to be a very good player, a player that can pilot this deck exceptionally well, and he's going to be giving Takashi Oguni a run for his money. Now let's take a look at Takashi Oguni's profile.
There he is up there. He's, of course, running that ever-important Garbodor to help shut down opposing abilities. That's going to be pretty big. He ended up taking second place at the Battle Carnival they have in Nagoya. And the Battle Carnival is a series of tournaments they do at different cities around Japan. It's kind of similar to our regionals, but more it's kind of a super big city or it's kind of a smaller regional. But yeah, those are big tournaments they have over there.
Am I right in assuming that that's probably how he qualified for the World Championships?
Yeah, that is probably how he got over here as well, yeah.
Okay, so now, interesting to note, they both took second place at their respective tournaments to get to the World Championships. Guess what? They're both in the top 2 at the World Championships, so one of them will repeat his second place finish. The other one will now become a world champion and kind of break that second place curse.
Yeah, that's really exciting. And actually right now, we can kick it over to the stage and we will get these players introduced right now to the entire world.
Let's take it away.
Up next on stage, we have the Pokemon TCG Junior Division Finals. The competitors are Player 1 from Japan, Takashi Oguni! Versus Player 2 from Japan, Haruto Kobayashi!
Takashi Oguni has the Darkrai Garbodor deck, and Takashi had kind of like a nice, presentable entrance. He was nice, calm, and ready, much like his deck. However, the explosive Haruto Kobayashi also has an explosive deck in Plasma. That's interesting to note. Their personalities match their deck types, and we're going to see exactly if Takashi or Haruto is going to be able to have an explosive start to match his deck, or if Takashi is going to be able to slow the game down, slow the pace down, and kind of play at his own pace and play at Darkrai Garbodor space and see if he can keep the Plasma deck from really exploding on him.
Right, so Haruto's deck really wants to get that early game, wants to get in, get those knockouts right away. Interestingly enough, Haruto is not running Lugia for that big extra prize at the end, but we will still see what's going on here. It looks like we are getting started up with a Thundurus versus a Mewtwo for the opening.
Yeah, now Haruto's deck, instead of playing Lugia, plays Kyurem. So we're going to be seeing things like Frost Spear to really apply pressure early on in the game. He could have easily done it on the first turn if he would have started with it. But instead, he's going to be starting with a Thundurus EX. So we're going to see what kind of a start he can get. If he can get some energies in his discard pile to be able to ride knuckle them into play as soon as possible, that would be great for him. If not, then at least start attacking pretty soon.
Yeah, we have to guess he has no energy in his hand, though, because he just played an Ultra Ball and had to discard a Sycamore and a Switch. You think he would have discarded an energy there, unless maybe he only has the one Forest Thundurus. But he gets that Kyurem we were talking about. and he plays Skyla after that, go find himself an item card.
Yeah, he decided to discard the Sycamore for the Ultra Ball in order to be able to play the Skyla instead. So he chose to go with the Skyla instead of a Sycamore is what I'm getting at. We're going to see what the Skyla finds. I'm not 100% sure what he's going to look for, but I'm sure it's going to be a very strong card because he decided to play this over the Sycamore.
Right, that's a pretty bold play there to like give up that many new cards, but he's going for that Tropical Beach. So he gets the Tropical Beach, which will give him consistent draw over turns instead of the just one-shot draw that he would have got with the Professor Sycamore there. Also, one big advantage, if you're going first, you can't attack, but using Tropical Beach means you don't really give up anything if you use it on your first turn.
Exactly. It's the strongest thing you can do on your first turn since you can't attack. Now, Tropical Beach is not a card that you usually see in decks like Plasma. So I'm very interested in seeing how it works out for him. The fact that it's a single card and he can search for it with Skyla is great, and it actually ended up coming into play this game. On this very first turn of the game. Now, Mewtwo EX is Takashi's opening Pokemon. Mewtwo EX is a Pokemon that you don't particularly see too much of the Eviltal Garbodor decks, but it's definitely a strong attacker, and it can put a lot of pressure on things like Deoxys EX and stuff like that.
Right. Takashi starts off with a Hypnotoxic Laser and gets the heads, puts that Thundurus to sleep. Now he's kicked off and is playing an N, and both players are going to get 6 new cards. So it kind of negated Haruto's play there, getting the Tropical Beach out on turn 1, because he had to shuffle that hand back in and get 6 new cards anyway. So it really didn't matter that he played that Tropical Beach, at least in this first turn.
Yeah, the end was a strong play by Takashi. He's going to be able to get himself 6 new cards, which is definitely more relevant right now. He wants to start getting Pokemon into play that are going to be relevant. He wants to definitely get a Garbodor into play at some point, or Garbodor into play at some point, because he doesn't want Deoxys EX's Power Connect to really start taking over the game.
Right. He does get a Trubbish to start setting up that Garbodor for later in the game. Haruto, when they get back to his turn, he flips for sleep and wakes up that Thundurus, plays a Plasma Ball, so he'll be getting another Pokemon. May go straight for the Deoxys here, do you think?
You might, yeah. He does go for the Deoxys. You want to kind of put pressure on your opponent and force him to have the Garbodor.
Right.
If he doesn't, then obviously Power Connect does take over the game because it just gives you so many energy or so much damage early on.
And that Power Connect, that's Deoxys EX's ability, and it makes all your other Plasma Pokemon's attacks do 10 more damage for each Deoxys you have in play. So as you stack those Deoxys up, it makes even your smaller Plasma attacks start doing a bunch of damage.
Yep, and a Colress Machine from Haruto is going to give him his very first energy in play, which is going to be a Plasma Energy straight from the deck onto the bench Kyurem.
Right, then he plays an N of his own. Both of these players having kind of a slow start. Haruto trying to look for another just normal energy that he can play. He still hasn't played his 1 energy for the turn. Colress Machine doesn't count as your single energy for the turn.
That's correct. I want to see if Haruto can start riding knuckling here. If he can start riding knuckling, he applies enough pressure to the Mewtwo that you can't really commit too many energies to it. Otherwise, the Mewtwo can really snowball and get out of hand.
Right.
So you want to start attacking the Mewtwo and taking that option away from your opponent.
Right. Mewtwo did it first, but it's the same thing that we see with Evil Ball on Eviltal EX.
Correct. Now he does get to ride Knuckle, and I don't think he had any energy in his discard pile, which is unfortunate, but
right.
it is what it is, and that does sometimes happen. You at least still get to damage your Pokemon.
After that end, he played a second Plasma Ball, got another Deoxys EX out, so that Ride Knuckle got to do 50 damage because of those 2 Power Connects.
Yeah. An interesting thing in Takashi's list is that he actually chooses to attack with Mewtwo quite a bit. Mewtwo isn't kind of like a secondary attacker or a tertiary attacker like you tend to see in a lot of Masters decks. Instead, he goes with a heavy Mewtwo line, a very light Darkrai line, and a very light Eviltal line, which we'll have to wait and see how it plays out for him, but Deoxys EX could actually be a relevant attacker in this game.
Right. So Takashi got that Garbodor, just evolved it. And he has the tool for it. He's got the Float Stone. So that now shuts down all those Power Connects that Haruto played those 2 Plasma Balls for. Right now, Deoxys isn't doing anything on Haruto's side of the board for him.
Correct. The Power Connect is no longer viable for him, but he can still attack with Deoxys EX.
Right.
He can definitely knock out these Mewtwo's, and if Takashi does go with the Mewtwo plan, you can absolutely have it foiled by the Deoxys EX. Okay, so... Oh, man. I want to see what Takashi does. He does have the Garbodor set up. However, that's not quite enough quite yet. I do want to see Eviltal start attacking, even though we have a Thundurus EX, which threatens the Eviltal and is kind of a natural predator of this evil Eviltal. It's not that threatening, and it will get knocked out relatively soon.
Right. So runs that X-Ball, gets Thundurus up to 110 damage with the poison that's going on there. Haruto's got to figure out what he wants to do here. He still looks like he's fairly energy starved.
Yes, he is. Now, even though he is kind of energy starved, he still has very powerful attacks for a cheap. That they attack for cheap. Like Riding Knuckle attacks for 1 energy.
Right.
Kyurem attacks for 2, and he already has a single energy attached to him. Even Deoxys EX can attack out of nowhere with a Colress machine and an energy attachment.
He played Skyla and went and got the
Max Potion.
Yeah, the Max Potion there. He might be planning on taking a ton of energy off of Thundurus EX there, or ton of damage off Thundurus EX there, and also the energy.
A Colress machine does fetch him another Plasma Energy, which he now attaches to Deoxys EX. A Deoxys EX does threaten to start attacking, and it will start attacking. He will knock out this Mewtwo EX. He Max Potions away the damage on his Thundurus EX, which is going to allow him to start attacking the Yveltal EX if he decides to attack it back with that.
Right. So, yeah, Deoxys EX comes up and kind of out of nowhere with that Colress machine. You get to accelerate your energy so fast there that it, Deoxys EX had no energy on it at the start of the turn, and then suddenly it's going. Takashi brings up that Garbodor is his active Pokemon with the Float Stone. That's usually where you want to go, because that always gives you any options if you get a different Pokemon later in your turn, because you can retreat that for free.
That's correct. He does Sycamore. He's going to start Evil Balling currently because he wants to retreat that Garbodor, get it out of harm's way. He starts dealing damage to the Deoxys EX, but he does not knock it out, so he's still behind on prizes, and Haruto can really take over this game if he has a strong turn here.
Right. Now that Yveltal has 2 energy attached to it, so how much is that Helix Force going to do right now?
Well, it's not going to attack anyway, so it's not going to be relevant. He's actually going to start Riding Knuckling again, attach his energies from his that he just discarded onto his Kyurem, and threatened a lot of damage.
Right. That Deoxys was kind of in danger there, and you can retreat. Although you have to discard the energy, Riding Knuckle, get it right back onto one of your Pokemon, so you don't have to worry about wasting those energy attachments.
Yeah, it's kind of like a cat and mouse game. You want to use the Mewtwo, but you don't want to fall prey to the Deoxys. And then once you start attacking with the Yveltal, you don't want to fall prey to the Thundurus. And Haruto is doing exactly what he needs to do in order to really take control of the game and put Takashi in a really
right. The Plasma. What's super interesting there is the Mewtwo is Psychic weak, which means that the Deoxys does double damage against it, whereas the Yveltal, being Flying Pokemon, is Lightning weak. So that means that the Thundurus EX does the double damage for it. So the Plasma deck kind of has whatever it needs to make sure that its attacks are going to be doing the double weakness damage against everything in Takashi's deck.
Correct. Takashi actually ended up having a Lysander on his turn in order to basically gust up. If you guys are relevant, if you guys know about the Pokemon from way back in the day, you activate your opponent's damaged Deoxys EX in order to knock it out. Make sure that your Yveltal can at least take a couple of prizes before being knocked out itself. And now Haruto actually knocks out the Yveltal, so now he goes down to 2 prizes against his opponent's 4. 2 prizes to go means a single EX knockout will end this game and give him a 1-game lead.
Yeah, they're playing pretty quick here. Haruto's already down to 2 prizes, like you said, and we are back over to Takashi's turn. Again, he puts that Garbodor up front. He puts another energy on his Mewtwo, and then that's another Float Stone on his Mewtwo, I believe.
Yeah, he does. Now, you don't want to attack with Mewtwo because you already see a Plasma Energy on the Deoxys EX. It's ready to start knocking you out in case you get a little bit too cocky. But he actually has a second Lysander. He's going to be able to knock out, or not knock it out.
No, that won't knock it out. That's a little dangerous play there.
Wow. Okay, so it is definitely a dangerous play. He only deals 120 damage to the Deoxys EX, and that means that he can. I mean, he's obviously not going to get knocked out yet, but he's going to get a lot of prizes or a lot of damage onto his Mewtwo before he can really take the prizes. So he's going to be in a really tough position. Right. Even something like a Riding Knuckle or a Frostbeard or something like that is going to put a lot of. He's going to threaten a lot.
Yeah, that Mewtwo will be super close to knockout after this Helix Force.
Okay, Haruto is definitely in prime position here to take this game. You want to see an end from Takashi in order to kind of reduce Haruto's options, because he's taking over the game, and with only 2 prizes to go, the Mewtwo EX has got.
He's got a Lysander.
He actually goes for the Lysander on the Yveltal. He wants to maybe put him in a position where he might not be able to retreat out of it, things like that. So I kind of like that play.
Yeah, and then he uses the Tropical Beach instead of attacking at all. He knows he's not going to get the knockout with the Deoxys EX.
That's a bit dangerous because his opponent could have ended him to a 2-card hand and attacked anyways.
Right.
Assuming, obviously, he had the options available to him. He actually has a Float Stone, so he's going to be able to retreat.
But yeah, every Pokemon on Takashi's side has Float Stone right now, so he has universal retreat control. He can have whatever Pokemon he wants up there.
Correct, but he did not get to play an End. He instead plays a Sycamore.
Sycamore, yeah.
Yeah, he plays a Sycamore, so Haruto is definitely going to have 7 cards available to him. 8 cards at the start of his own turn.
That knocks out the Deoxys EX. So now, all of a sudden, Takashi's in kind of better position than he was a minute ago.
Yeah, the Lysander play actually ended up kind of hurting him in a sense. He does get a Startling Megaphone, his only Startling Megaphone in the deck, and he gets rid of all 3 tools. That's a great 3-for-1 trade. All 3 Float Stones are gone, and I don't even know if he has a 4th one in his deck.
Right, so by getting rid of all those Float Stones, it does 2 things. One, it locks down the control of who can be where on his side of the board, but also it shuts off Garbatoxin, so now those Power Connects are doing stuff again.
He does get the first.
There we go.
He does get the first win here. We do see a handshake. Takashi is going to go down a single game to Haruto. Haruto just had too strong of a start here and single game away from being the world champion.
Yeah, at the very beginning, both of them were pretty slow, but then Haruto really started just edging up. He hit those Colress machines just when he needed to, and really when he was able to get that Deoxys Helix Force out on to take down that Mewtwo that had all the energy on it, kind of really slowed down what Takashi was able to do because suddenly he had all that energy stranded in his discard pile. He doesn't have the ability to get the energy back out of his discard pile that Haruto does with the Riding Knuckles.
That's correct. Now, Haruto's deck, like we said, is explosive, and it definitely had a very strong start this game, even though he obviously didn't get to really get too many energies in play. Once he started getting the Riding Knuckle going, and then he started using Helix Force in order to get knockouts on the Mewtwo, really took advantage of the weakness situation. That's all that really needed to happen in order for Takashi's not too impressive start to kind of not... I mean, it just kind of petered out, right?
Yeah. And then Takashi is not running the standard Yveltal, which would let him get some energies out of his discard pile. So really, once stuff is in there, I don't think he's running any... Nope, there's no Super Rods in his deck and no energy retrieval. So once those are gone on his side, they're gone for good.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he does have Dark Patches, obviously, but that's pretty much it. Like, you don't have too many options.
Right, he's only running 2 Dark Patch.
So we're going to have to wait and see.
And he is running 3 Float Stones we saw there, so that Megaphone did get rid of every single Float Stone.
That's correct. So since he does choose to attack with Mewtwo EX, Dark Patch isn't really a very strong card compared to how strong it could be in other Garbodor-based decks.
Right.
So
I see a pretty strong start from Haruto. It looks like he's got at least 1 Deoxys on the bench, and I saw a Tropical Beach, and 2 Deoxys on the bench and a Tropical Beach. Takashi's starting with Darkrai, and that probably isn't what he's looking for to be his opening Pokemon.
That's correct. He does get to go first, though, so he's going to be able to start getting energies in play. Potentially, he does get to end his opponent to 6 cards and himself to 6 cards.
Although, interestingly enough, since Haruto played 3 cards, that isn't a terrible card for him, even though he does lose the Tropical Beach that he had there in his opening hand.
Oh, absolutely not. Not at all. So, but Takashi does get 6 new cards.
Yeah.
So Takashi's looking for energies more than anything. He's looking for energies, but he's also looking for Trubbish. He really doesn't want Power Connect to be too relevant in this game.
Right.
And I believe there's only a single Startling Megaphone in Haruto's deck. So if we do get to see an early Garbatoxin, then a single Startling Megaphone will be the only option available to him. After that, he will be out of powers for the rest of the game.
Right. Looks like Takashi just played an Ultra Ball, and he will be searching for a Pokemon here. Now, do you think that he wants to get the Trubbish here? Or no, he's going straight for the Yveltal EX. He's going for the attack.
Yeah, that's what I would be doing too. The Yveltal EX is a pretty strong attacker here. Even though you do have a Thundurus EX that threatens to knock you out very early on, you still want to start attacking with the Yveltal EX. The Evil Ball attack is just too strong. It might even be the strongest attack in the entire game.
Right.
So you want to have access to that if possible. And from Haruto is going to give both players a new 6-card hand again, and is a strong card that gets played early on in the game and then gets played at the end of the game. So we do see it quite a bit. We try to avoid seeing it in the middle of the game, but it does happen.
And Haruto does get that Rainbow Energy on Thundurus, so he can start doing Raiden Knuckles here pretty quick. Oh, he's got a Muscle Band. He's got 2 Power Connects. So he's got, man, what is that going to be? 30, 50, 70 damage for his Raiden Knuckles at this point?
Yeah, it looks like it. He also has a Chorus Machine in order to start attaching energies to his Kyurem.
Yeah,
Cool.
so that Thunder says 30 damage on it so far, 2 from poison and 1 from attaching that rainbow energy.
Is he still poisoned currently? Yes, he is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that is going to be relevant in this game, I'm sure. So a Mewtwo does come down, as well as a Burbank City Gym. The poison damage is now going to be 30 damage per turn instead of a measly 10.
Right. So the right knuckle there, he didn't get to attach any energy out of his discard pile, but it's doing not bad damage to start off here.
Yeah, with Muscle Band and then Deoxys EX's Power
Right.
Connect, you really do start doing a lot of damage very
Now,
quickly.
Takashi was able to get down 2 Trubbish so that he can try to get that Garbotoxin, and he can't have both of them knocked out in one turn. But that was pretty much his entire turn, and he had to pass the turn back to Haruto already. Haruto got rid of that Burbank City Gym, bringing down the poison damage, and has his Tropical Beach in play in case he wants to go for the cards. But he's got to be thinking damage right now.
Oh, absolutely. So we see the Thundurus EX. It's got poison on it, so you probably don't want to be attacking with it too much right now. You might want to retreat onto the Kyurem if possible, but we'll have to wait and see if he can do that. By the way, guys, I do want to announce that at the end of this match, we're going to have more
TCGO stuff.
More TCGO stuff, yeah. That's pretty much the best way to put it. We're gonna have more TCGO stuff available to you guys. I know that if you guys tuned into the stream last night, we did have 10,000 codes that were available. So now we'll have to wait and see what else we can have on TCGO.
Now, one interesting thing there, when Haruto attacked with that Red Knuckle last turn, I talked about how it should be doing 70 damage. It only did 50 to Darkrai because Takashi's actually earning Hard Charm. Because he needs a few tools to be hooking up to his Garbodor. He actually has a couple that you might not see in everyday play.
Yeah, I don't even think I've seen a Hard Charm be actually played in competitive play since the card's been released.
Right, it's kind of the anti-muscle band.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is the anti-muscle band. It's meant to counter a muscle band in case you want to make your opponent's combat math a little bit difficult.
Right. So Haruto's got his Kyurem moved up front there. Takashi is now powering up his Darkrai EX. Although he put a double colorless energy on there, so it can't actually use my favorite attack, Night Spear, but it should. Now he's playing a Shauna, another card that you don't see played as much, and it's kind of interesting. It's N changes how many cards that you get over the course of the game based on the prizes, where Shauna is kind of a you-only consistent N for the 5 cards every time.
It's a very static effect, and it's an effect that a lot of players choose to avoid having because they feel like 5 cards is not enough. However, Takashi says, no, 5 cards is plenty. I just want to be able to get a consistent amount of cards throughout the remainder of the game, and I don't want to become vulnerable to N.
Right, and N is interesting because if it's late game and you only have 1 prize left, you would really rather have a Shauna over the N at that point.
Haruto has access to a Lysander in case he wants to start going after the Garbodors or even like the Eviltal EX. He actually goes for the Eviltal EX here. That's going to be pretty big because he's going to threaten to... Yeah, there he is. The knockout is...
with the Frost Spear.
Yeah, correct. The knockout with the Frost Spear does take out the Eviltal EX. Again, that's the best attack.
That was Blizzard Burn, excuse me.
The knockout with the Blizzard Burn does knock out the Eviltal, and again, that's the best attacker that Takashi has available to him. So with that gone, you have to again believe that Haruto is in a prime position to win this game.
Yeah, Haruto's really in the driver's seat, and Takashi still doesn't have a single tool on his Garbodors yet, although he just went and grabbed one there. Yeah, he went and used his computer search to grab a tool, although he's putting that on his Mewtwo, looking for the big knockout on Kyurem to slow down the advance of Haruto.
Yeah, he definitely needed a knockout here. X-Ball is going to... I believe it's going to deal enough damage to knock it out. The muscle band had to be fetched with a computer search. Could have been Skylight or something like that, but that's what computer search is there for. It's to get you out of tough spots.
Well, it looks like I think he's only at 120 right now on X-Ball. Am I correct there?
Actually, it is only 120, but he actually had 10 damage on him already.
From the poison from the laser earlier on. Yeah.
I like how Haruto immediately activates the Deoxys EX very confidently. He already had a Plasma Energy attached, so the multi-energy is going to be able to give him the knockout, I believe.
Yeah, that'll do
180.
Yep.
I can do maths.
That's an important skill as a caster.
All right, so the N from Haruto is also going to give him additional options in case the Deoxys EX happens to get knocked out, even though I find that hard to believe. Takashi is just falling so far behind on these prize exchanges. The weakness advantage from Haruto is just giving Takashi headaches.
Right, and then right now he's in a situation where he's only got 2 energy on the board, and he doesn't have, and unless he's got another dark patch, which I think he's played one already, he can't even get an attack off this turn because he has no way to get multiple energies out, because he needs 2 darkness on either of those Darkrai to be able to use their attack, and double colorless energy doesn't actually help him here.
Yeah.
Although he plays another Mewtwo, gets the double colorless energy on there, gets the Muscle Band on there.
Yeah, the Muscle Band was the really important card because it allowed him to get the knockout. This was big, and it brings Takashi back into this game. If the Deoxys EX here can start knocking out the Mewtwo EX, obviously that's the end of the game. There's only 2 prizes remaining. But it doesn't look like he had that option available to him because he activated the Kyurem instead. Right.
Haruto's got to, you would think that he might want to start actually getting Thunderous ready again to start Knuckling energy back onto that Deoxys. But he instead has to put up the Kyurem. Maybe it's kind of a stall play for him, because he only really needs 2 energy to get on that Deoxys to take over the game again.
That's correct. He does get a 6-card Colress, which is pretty good. 6 cards does usually give you quite a few options. Hypnotoxic Laser is a Tails. He does not get to put the Mewtwo EX to sleep.
But he does get the poison. That'll be a little extra damage. Might not end up being relevant ultimately, but he was really looking for the sleep. Again, he's trying to slow the game down after being on the gas full blast this whole time. Now he's trying to slow it down just a bit to make sure that he can get back in control.
He chose to attach the energy to the active Kyurem instead of the bench Deoxys, which means that the Kyurem will be taking will take some damage before he can even start attacking. And I'm not sure. I'm not confident that that's the correct energy attachment, but he is, and he chose the Tropical Beach at the end of his turn, obviously, because why not?
Right. And yeah, since the attack, Frost Spear isn't going to do much in that situation. Takashi already comes back and attacks back with the X-Ball. We're going back to Haruto's turn.
All right. Haruto plays extremely fast, by the way. He plays faster than Knocking Dog. And that's an achievement all on its own.
Yeah, he's playing the Plasma Ball there. He gets 1 energy on the Deoxys. Oh, he's using the Scramble Switch
here. That's a knockout. That is the end of the game. That's the end of the match. Haruto wins the match 2-0. He is the world champion.
All right, let's give it up for Haruto Kobayashi.
Haruto Kobayashi he had the weakness advantage against his opponent. He took full advantage of that.